Hello, and it's an overview of Chapter 10 in the Essentials of Social Media Marketing textbook. Today, we're going to talk about marketing with YouTube. Now, as I often do with these chapters in these textbooks, I have shortened this overview substantially. I believe there's about 44 lecture slides that cover the entire gamut of the chapter. I have cut that down to less than 20. And I'm really going to focus on a couple of key elements that deal with YouTube. And specifically, we're going to look at posting videos to YouTube, the type of content that works well on YouTube, and more of the general use cases for YouTube. And seeing as this is a social media textbook, I'm really going to talk about it in a sharing sense. When I wrote the content marketing book a couple years ago, I talked about YouTube largely in how to, in a content creation and sharing perspective. That is, I talked a lot about, what's best for embedding videos on a website. It's not just YouTube, there are some other ones. And what is the role that YouTube plays in the larger growth and evolution of content as we know it over the last 2 decades? Today, we're just going to talk about the social media side and YouTube on its own, not technically a social network, although I think that perception is changing since the late 20 teens. If you think about kind of the things that people do on YouTube, YouTube is the second largest search engine and second most popular um, social site in the world. Now, from search, I think that's pretty obvious. People just go to YouTube and they immediately start searching for something. On the other hand, though, the third bullet point here talks about second most popular website in the world, but it's also the second largest social media site from the perspective of comments and engagements with other users. If you think about how comments work on YouTube, it doesn't take much to get comments flowing on various videos. And as a result, if you take the total number of comments and you look at the engagement rates for all of these videos, you end up with the second largest social network in the world, right behind Facebook. And to me, that is a staggering fact and also makes it quite obvious that this is somewhere that you need to be if you're going to have video in any sort of your strategy. In terms of an audience, it's huge. It's got people from all around the world engaging with it constantly. And I did remove some of the demographic slides just because I thought they were a little redundant. But if you didn't know already, YouTube is massive. Now, if you look at it as an overview, um, 2 billion users actually are logged in to YouTube each month, which is crazy. But at the same time, that also overlaps with Google because YouTube was acquired by Google back in 2006, I believe. And so as a result, if you're logged into a Gmail account, you can easily log into YouTube. Now, also, it's interesting that 70% of YouTube views currently happen on mobile. I think that is really because of how many websites on the internet include YouTube videos or links to YouTube videos. And so a lot of times people end up linked over to it. YouTube as both an app and as a web page, like on Safari or if you're on iPhone, for example, very easily utilized. Videos just pop up and they play. Not a lot of frills around it. And YouTube being the number one video sharing site in the world makes it also the number one site for the most links over to it in terms of, if I'm going to talk about a video on a blog post, it's probably going to be living on YouTube. If it's not living on YouTube, it's going to live on another site that has an embedded YouTube video on it. So YouTube is very, very prevalent on the internet. I'm not going to really look at these other numbers, female audience, male audience. That's great, but I don't think there's really a ton of takeaways from there. It's not like you should overly promote to one audience or another. These are just some more numbers to back up the claims from before. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that YouTube is huge. The middle one here with the little play button was staggering, that it reaches more 18 to 49-year-olds than all TV networks combined. We all knew that TV and cutting the cord was on its way. I I didn't realize it was already this crazy. Now, let's dig into YouTube as a platform. And there's really three categories where the algorithm is going to personalize you as the viewer's recommendation. They personalize, um, in terms of what you've watched and what else you've done, what you've engaged with. There is how long you're watching with it, how long you're watching it, if you give it a like, if you leave a comment. And then the Google factor comes in. What have you searched lately? What other websites have you visited? What kind of content can Google and YouTube provide to you that they believe will add some more value and education to other things you're already looking at online? You may find that maybe you were doing some searching and you're looking for maybe a place, maybe some sort of best practices to, I don't know, to plant some flowers. We'll use it as an example. And you go to YouTube and you see the first recommended for you is how to set up a new garden in your front yard. That is all thanks to the algorithm. And YouTube, with the power of Google and Alphabet behind it, has access to all sorts of data that is on you, the user. Sometimes it's creepy, kind of like in that experience, but oftentimes it's also helpful. I don't know how often people actually watch the recommended videos, but I do know that videos that are pushed through the recommendations section of YouTube, kind of on your homepage, do usually get a lot more views than those that are not. Now, when I mentioned the homepage, that's one of several different sections of the YouTube site. You have the homepage, which is when you're there. There's suggested videos, which obviously that's going to be an algorithm-driven section. The interesting thing, though, is also search. When you search something, most of the time, everybody's search results are going to be the same. But usually, if a top result is a video you've already watched, it may put that first. And if there's a trending video, like really trending video, that won't appear first in a search result, but there's always going to be there's that pane on the side that shows you, trending videos are recommended for you. So YouTube will still give you it'll still maintain the search integrity that you're looking for out of a typical search, but it's also going to try to get you over to some other pages. Now, what does that mean? If you're searching for a video, what goes into those results? You can search as broad or as specific as you want. And going back to the SEO discussion from an earlier video that I did, the idea of keyword development and search intent all come into play in YouTube, and that you want to make sure that you select a keyword that you can optimize your YouTube video for that is not just the biggest, broadest keyword that you can find, but straddles the line between popularity and the intent of the searcher. So for me, I'm creating this video on marketing with YouTube. A term like marketing with YouTube is probably not searched a ton as a keyword on YouTube. However, video marketing is probably searched a lot, probably hundreds of thousands of times. So I could optimize this video for that, and I'll probably get some views. But this video is much more specific than that. And I'm not just talking about video marketing. I'm talking about a very niche corner of video marketing. Video marketing entails much more than just posting stuff onto this website. Video marketing includes all sorts of stuff. It includes, other platforms. It includes the other social networks in the videos that they push. It includes the different elements that go into the video production side. It goes into the talent. It goes into all sorts of things. So if I'm trying to optimize for video marketing and I want people to see this video, I don't think I'm not going to be able to give people necessarily what they're looking for. But if I focus on marketing with YouTube, or even like I add the title of the textbook or something in here, like chapter 10 overview, that is exactly what people are looking for. At least I would hope. And that's kind of the idea behind keywords. Now, the first thing that you want to think about when after you come up with a keyword is make sure that it's in your title of a video. Without it there, it's probably not going to work. It doesn't need to be the first couple words. Some people have said that. I haven't seen any data that supports that. And an interesting piece here on this slide is that think about what the use case is for your video. This video is going to be embedded into a course website. But it's pretty clear that it's a video. I don't think you need to put video in the title to generate outside traffic unless you are trying to get people to come to you from Google. Usually what I will do though is include the video piece in the description, which is coming up. Now, when you upload a video to YouTube, you're going to be provided with this screen, these things here. Now, there is a title section where you put your keyword and whatever it's called. You can add a description here, which allows you for plenty of descriptions. And then you have tags. Now, the title I think is pretty straightforward. The description, you should also include the keyword there. I think you have 5,000 characters actually, so not a big deal. But make sure the keyword's in there, and I would put it in the first sentence or two. And then the tags here is interesting because tags are meant to be not exactly correct spellings. They're actually meant to be like misspellings. And an example here would be like my name. If my name was the keyword, I wanted people to search my name and come up to this video, I would put my name in the title, I put my name in the description, but my name is not super easy to spell. It's not super obvious. So I might put a couple different variations of my name in the tags. That's kind of the point of the tags. At least YouTube has made it that in recent years. And so, you'll see here on the example from Stukin, the publisher, they took the space out of all these things. And also they added some words that are not typically associated with their type of material. So you'll see, for example, courseware. That's a term that Stukin uses a lot. That's a term that myself and others use as authors. That's not something that the general public uses. They're going to use textbooks. So maybe they're going to put that there instead. Some of these other words I don't really understand, but you'll see like there's no spaces. You can have spaces in your tags, by the way, like social media down here, like you can have spaces, but tags are not actually meant to be categories. That is not what those are for. Those are for ensuring that your video comes up when people misspell or miscategorize your content. This is just an overview of what I just mentioned. I will say transcripts. This is really a key thing. What you have here, transcripts are critical for YouTube success, especially in search. Transcripts give YouTube another way to see what your keyword is. It improves accessibility. It allows people without sound to watch. Closed captions are also good, or captions down here. Subtitles, I should say. Anything that will turn the audio into something that's readable is going to help your case as a YouTube marketer. Here we go. Tags can be useful if content if your video is something misspelled. But so I highly recommend tags if you can. If you record on Zoom, like I do, they can be automatically generated for you in a VTT file. On the flip side of that, they are also helpful because sometimes videos play by default on mute, as you have probably noticed on other social media platforms. Videos do play by mute by default. They don't, obviously if you unmute one video, all the others are unmuted. But that is a really big component. And on YouTube, I don't believe that's the case. I've seen it go both ways. I think it depends on what your settings are, but you want to have every opportunity to capture the viewer. And if their video happens to be on mute, you still want to be able to get that person. So just a piece there. couple other optimization options. I'm not a big YouTube end screen person, but you may notice at the end of videos, he's oh, then there's all these little things that pop up. I'm not one to typically do those. I've seen some data that they just have minimal results. If anything, you want to have annotations earlier in the video, like a subscribe button or something. Um, that's what the kind of what the cards are there. And the thumbnails, though, those are key. And so something to understand here. Um, with thumbnails, you can upload an image that appears when you search something on YouTube. Right? You can stick with a general video snippet, a general image, or you can upload your own graphic. I personally do not agree with the point of having the title of the video in your thumbnail and having it here too. There is a very limited amount of space that you have to communicate the value proposition of your video. And the title is one place, and that is for the title. But if anything, the thumbnail should be the space for you to add something more. Generally, what I tell people is you have your title of the video, but then the thumbnail is going to be the attention grabber. If your video is about, we'll take one of these for example. You know, we'll say Instagram masterclass on making money, then I would call this, monetizing your Instagram account. That's going to capture way more attention than the same words here and here. And I think you could do that for just about any video. If I don't design thumbnails for these videos because they are meant to be lecture videos. These are not overly marketing-esque pieces. I just create these videos and post them on YouTube publicly because I want to do something more with my content. But when I think about optimizing my YouTube video and traffic, I am going to use every inch of real estate that I have to share as strong of a message and as much of a message as humanly possible. Now, I'm not going to go through the cards in the on-screen piece. I'm not a big fan. I mean, they're cool. They're interesting. You can keep them engaged, but the numbers have shown that they have very minimal engagement rates. If you're dealing with like tens of thousands of views, then absolutely do it, 100%. But we're just really getting started here. Now let's talk content strategy. There's all these great ways to share videos, and it's not just videos that you're sharing, but these are like the types of features that YouTube has. You can include a channel trailer, which is essentially a promo for your channel that you post on your channel page. You can try different content types. YouTube now actually allows you to share a video in a post, almost like a traditional social media post. I've seen some good initial success with those. It doesn't even have to be your post. It can be somebody else's video. And also, with this textbook, optimal time is a huge thing. It's not something I subscribe to, but publishing videos regularly is a thing, especially with YouTube Shorts. That is one of the points on here, but YouTube Shorts, I did a test with YouTube Shorts and compared it to Reels and TikTok and did not get good results. However, it feels like just about everybody else has, and I don't really know why. But I do know that if you post shorts like every day and they're valuable and they're good content, you will see some results. Again, I've never seen it. I posted a short every day for 30 days and never got more than like 100 views. With TikTok, that was like the minimum. So take that for what it's worth, but shorts kind of operate just like those other two types of content. More editing capabilities. It's in the vertical style. Shorter, of course, called shorts. I believe it's 60 seconds or less. And it's a lot easier to scroll. You can go from one video to another. The videos here that I'm doing are not shorts. These are longer form. These are lecture videos. And I try to keep these under 30 minutes, but I'm already at 20 minutes. So I need to keep moving. Shorts are for another day. Another content strategy, though, is to create playlists engage with influencers. By that, I mean like, posting a video, talking about them or tagging them, not bad, but, just engaging them in conversation. And then there's analytics and advertising, which we'll briefly touch on here. Now, in terms of the actual videos themselves, there's lots of different types of videos that you can create. I believe there is a slide a couple ahead that shows an optimal time of 1 to 5 minutes. You don't want a video to be much more than that, at least if you're trying to get it a ton of views. This video, if you're watching it this far, obviously it's beyond 5 minutes, but I have a different goal. I have a different audience. This is different. I am using YouTube for a different reason than how businesses should be using YouTube. I'm using it from an academic standpoint. I'm using it to teach, to educate, to share my experiences. When businesses are using YouTube, they are trying to convey a message. They are trying to build brand awareness. They are trying to meet their marketing goals, I should say, meet their business goals. And what does that mean? Well, you can do that through all these different bullet points. There's all sorts of things. You can post product reviews. You can post testimonials. You can do interviews, internal and external, external stakeholders, videos from events, how-tos, which I'm a big fan of, video blogs, which is more of a first-person opinion piece on a certain topic, gaming videos, which is, screenshots of people playing games, comedy videos, the best of videos, which are like a list, like a top 10 list, educational videos like this, product demonstrations, which are always nice, especially when it's like a screen share and you're walking through how to use like a program or something. Q&A videos, which is more of an interview. Unboxing, which is like a reveal. And then you have your pranks, your customer stories, your documentaries, all sorts of things. Kind of like with blogging, except in blogging, it's in a written form. There's not as much visual opportunity. So I did quickly want to mention this. I understand this is not a content marketing textbook or chapter, but YouTube is the most embedded site on the internet, in that videos get embedded on all sorts of websites all the time. Think about it. Like, I embed in almost every blog post I write, I embed a YouTube video. I'm going to embed this video itself. But when you think about that, you want to make sure that when you are embedding videos, you're embedding your own videos, that the content fits it. In that, when you watch an embedded videos, you can't read the description unless you go watch it on YouTube. When you are watching embedded videos, you can't see a playlist. You can't see much more about the brand other than what's displayed in the video or in the corner. So you want to think through your strategy and what your ultimate goals are, because if you have a playlist of like 10 videos, but then they're all just embedded, you're not going to get much out of that playlist. And so that's just a piece here when you're thinking about YouTube as a social network, then also just as a content platform, that your use case for the videos is just as important as what you're actually doing to optimize your performance. This is the viewer engagement piece that I alluded to a couple slides ago, and that 1 to 5 minutes is the sweet spot. I'm living on the edge of 10 to 30 here. That's 8%, but 1 to 5 minutes is your spot. A less than 1 minute, you're looking at a short. 1 to 5 is ideal. 5 to 10, probably a little too long. 10 to 30, you got lecture videos like me, and then it gets weird. So just try to keep your videos less than 5 minutes. Here's a note on the playlists that I mentioned before. They're great because they do drive longer watch times, but when we think about it, it only is going to work if people are on YouTube watching the video. A playlist will keep playing embedded, but you're a lot less likely to keep somebody for the duration of the video when they are watching it embedded on a website where there's other things, other factors at play. I did want to just mention this, just a couple of slides left, engaging with influencers. What does that mean? This was a larger brand. This is not something that most people are ever going to be able to do, but like Oreos, for example, worked with one of the largest YouTube influencers in the country to place their product and to use them for a video. Um, if you're thinking about it from a smaller brand perspective, you want to look at a little bit smaller influencers, and the influencer marketing chapter talks a little bit about this, that you don't want to outkick your coverage when it comes to influencer size. An influencer with 500 million followers, or you think about an influencer on YouTube that has like even 100, maybe 100 million followers. Um, Even if your company can afford to do that and you sell, t-shirts, it's very possible that they could break your site and completely mess up your inventory because they're just going to drive too many sales. It's it, it could be a good problem to have. It's not a good problem to have, as somebody who's been there. Now, in reality, you want to match up the size of your brand with the size of the influencer based on their followers and engagements. Oreo is a pretty big brand. Dude Perfect is a pretty big influencer, so those two work together. But if you're dealing with just a couple hundred followers, you have a very small business, your website can only handle X number of X, 100,000 visitors. You need to work with an influencer that's going to match up with that, both on price and estimated return on investment. Now, we'll talk more about the influencer stuff in the influencer chapter, but just to wrap things up, I did want to talk about YouTube advertising for a brief moment. Um, YouTube ads are run through the Google Display Network. I'm not going to go through a whole description here because that's kind of getting into the Google ad world, but video ads, are very popular on YouTube. They are also pretty expensive, and you usually see ads from larger brands. You probably don't see a ton from smaller local businesses. However, they're still available, and you can get them at a decent price, just not at the volume that you might be expecting. You can target by all sorts of different things. Honestly, the key thing to remember here is the more niche and the more targeted you can get with this, the better off you're going to be. And this is the last slide I have here because I'm going to keep it under 30 minutes. The YouTube ad objectives, there's only three things. There's awareness, consideration, and action. It's just a condensed version of the buyer's journey, the AIDA funnel that I use. And you're trying to do three things. You grab somebody's attention for the first time, you want them to consider buying the product, or you want them to actually purchase it. Keeping those three things in mind and having a clear goal when creating your advertisements is going to be really important. As is the case with any ad strategy that you have, any other social network. But with YouTube, I highly recommend sticking with the awareness. I think social media advertising is, it's hard to prove the ROI for awareness in general, but I think it's pretty useful if you're trying to drive awareness and just trying to drive traffic to a website. So you can check that out. Again, it is run through Google. It is not run through YouTube only. And, highly recommend perhaps testing it out and just seeing what's available. But, that's all that I have for now. Hopefully this is a good YouTube overview for you. And I will see you next time for the next chapter.